What if I told you James Bond's most iconic weapon almost got him killed in the first novel? The suave secret agent we know today, armed with his sleek Walther PPK, originally carried a gun that a real firearms expert called a lady's weapon. Today, we're counting down the 5 most significant weapons in Bond's film history, starting with number 5. The golden gun from the man with the golden gun. This thing was pure fantasy, assembled from a cigarette case, lighter, cufflink, and pen. Christopher Lee's Scaramanga used it to charge $1 million per hit. The gun fired custom-made 4.2mm golden bullets, which sounds cool until you realize that's an incredibly impractical caliber that no ammunition manufacturer would ever produce. But who cares? It looked amazing on screen. Number 4 takes us to the Living Daylights, and that signature sniper rifle Bond uses in the opening. Here's where the films got smart about weapons. Instead of some made-up supergun, they used a real Walther WA-2000, one of the most accurate sniper rifles ever made. Only 176 were ever produced, making it rarer than most supercars. The film shows it broken down to fit in a diplomatic pouch, which is actually possible with this rifle's modular design. At number 3, we've got the explosive pen from GoldenEye. Yeah, it's a gadget, not a traditional firearm, but hear me out. This pen represents perfectly how the franchise balances real weapons with spy tech fantasy. The idea of a pen grenade isn't totally crazy either. During World War II, the OSS and SOE really did make explosive devices disguised as everyday items. They just weren't quite as reliable as Pierce Brosnan made it look. Number 2 belongs to the Smart Rifle from Spectre. This is where Bond meets the 21st century. The film shows a rifle that can only be fired by Bond thanks to his palm print, just like the PPK from Skyfall. This technology actually exists. Companies like Armatics make smart guns with fingerprint sensors. They're not perfect, and most professionals don't trust them yet, but the tech is real and improving every year. But number 1? Come on, you knew this was coming. The Walther PPK, the gun that started everything. Let me tell you how this all began. Picture this scene. It's 1956, and a Scottish guy named Geoffrey Boothroyd is reading Ian Fleming's latest Bond novel. Boothroyd knows guns. He really knows guns. And something in the book is driving him crazy. James Bond, this supposedly deadly secret agent, is carrying a Beretta 418. Hold up. Before we go further, let me blow your mind with something. You know how everyone thinks Bond always had great taste in weapons? Wrong. Dead wrong. Fleming's original Bond was basically carrying the firearms equivalent of a water pistol. And here's the kicker. Fleming had no clue. The author who created the world's most famous spy didn't know jack about guns. How's that for irony? Boothroyd couldn't let it go. He sat down and wrote Fleming a letter that basically said, "Look, your super spy is carrying a purse gun. The Beretta 418 fired .25 ACP rounds, bullets so weak that European police departments only issued them to female officers who needed something tiny for undercover work. A trained killer would laugh at you if you pointed one at them." Fleming loved getting mail from experts. He wrote back asking what Bond should carry instead. Boothroyd suggested the Walther PPK, a German pistol that was small enough to hide under a dinner jacket, but actually packed enough punch to drop an enemy agent. Fleming was so impressed he wrote Boothroyd into the next novel as Major Boothroyd, the armorer who forces Bond to switch guns. When they made Dr. No in 1962, this became one of the most important scenes in action movie history. Bond doesn't want to give up his Beretta. He's attached to it. But M tells him straight, "That gun jammed on your last job and you spent 6 months in the hospital. Time for something better." The technical stuff matters here. The Beretta's .25 ACP round produces about 64 foot-pounds of energy. That's nothing. A professional boxer's punch delivers more force. The PPK's .380 ACP round hits with 200 foot-pounds. That's 3 times the power in a gun that's barely any bigger. You can hide both under a tuxedo, but only one will save your life when things go bad. Now here's where it gets weird. You'd think after getting expert advice, they'd stick to realistic gunplay in the movies, right? Nope. Hollywood gonna Hollywood. By the time Roger Moore took over, Bond's PPK could do everything except make him a sandwich. We're talking laser beams, remote control bullets, you name it. They turned a respectable German pistol into a Swiss Army knife with a trigger. But wait, there's more. You know what's hilarious? While Movie Bond was running around with his magic gun, real spies were taking notes. I'm not kidding. Actual intelligence agencies started rethinking their weapon choices because a fictional character looked cool with a PPK. Imagine being a CIA operative in the 1960s and your boss hands you a new pistol because he saw it in a James Bond movie. That actually happened. Life imitating art. Imitating a letter from a Scottish gun nut. You can't make this stuff up. Sean Connery made the PPK look cool, but each Bond actor brought something different to how they handled it. Roger Moore's Bond treated guns like toys, pulling out a PPK that might shoot lasers or explode. The movies got silly, and the weapons got sillier. Timothy Dalton brought back some edge, handling weapons like someone who'd actually killed people. Pierce Brosnan updated things with the Walther P99, a modern polymer gun that looked like it belonged in the new millennium. Then Daniel Craig showed up and changed everything. Casino Royale brought back the violence. When Craig's Bond shoots someone, you feel it. The sound design got real too. Earlier, Bonds fired guns that went pop like cap pistols. Craig's PPK sounds like what it is. A deadly weapon going off in spaces way too small for gunfire. You know those action scenes where Bond shoots inside a building and then has a normal conversation? Total nonsense. Real gunfire indoors will blow out your eardrums. The PPK became so linked with Bond that real people wanted one. After Dr. No came out, gun shops couldn't keep them in stock. Everyone wanted to be 007. This created a weird situation where a professional assassin's weapon became a fashion accessory for dentists and accountants who thought it made them look dangerous. Real spies noticed too. Declassified documents show intelligence agencies started thinking differently about weapons after Bond. Before the films, agents often carried whatever military pistol their country issued. After Bond, they wanted something concealable but effective. The idea that a spy's gun should be sophisticated changed how agencies equipped their people. But here's something the movies rarely show. Carrying a concealed weapon is uncomfortable. A PPK weighs about 1.5 pounds loaded. That doesn't sound like much until you strap it under your arm for 12 hours. The metal digs into your ribs. The holster makes your jacket hang weird. You can't raise your arms without printing the outline through your clothes. Real undercover agents often prefer something even smaller, accepting less firepower for better concealment. The movies also skip over how hard it is to shoot accurately under stress. Bond makes impossible shots while diving sideways or hanging from helicopters. In reality, most trained shooters can barely hit a target when their heart rate goes up. The PPK helps here though. It's designed for close work, inside 7 yards, where precise aiming matters less than getting shots off quickly. Hollywood loves to show people dual-wielding pistols, shooting one in each hand. Bond's done it a few times. This looks awesome and works terribly. Try holding a 1-pound weight in each hand at arm's length. Now imagine those weights are exploding with enough force to break your wrists if you hold them wrong. Plus, you can't aim 2 guns at once. Your brain doesn't work that way. When Bond does it, it's pure style over substance. The sound of movie guns tells lies too. Silencers, or suppressors, as professionals call them, don't make guns whisper quiet. A suppressed PPK still hits 120 decibels, about as loud as a rock concert. The advantage isn't silence, but confusion. The sound changes enough that people might not recognize it as gunfire, especially in a noisy environment. But that gentle puff from the movies? Pure fiction. Modern Bond films face a weird problem. Audiences know more about guns now thanks to video games and YouTube. You can't fake things like you could in the 60s. When a movie shows a PPK ejecting the wrong kind of shell casings or holding more bullets than possible, people notice. The Craig films mostly get it right by hiring good armorers and making actors train with real weapons. The ammunition matters too. Bond's PPK traditionally fires .32 ACP or .380 ACP, but the films rarely mention this. In the books, Fleming got specific after Boothroyd's advice, sometimes describing the exact cartridges Bond loaded. Modern hollow-point ammunition makes these calibers more effective than in Fleming's day, but they're still marginal for serious work. Real operators today prefer 9mm minimum. Looking forward, what happens to Bond's arsenal? The Walther PPK design is almost 100 years old. Police and military units have moved on to polymer-framed pistols with higher capacity. Will Bond stick with tradition or modernize? The smart money says he keeps the PPK. It's like the Aston Martin or the Martini, too iconic to abandon. The real genius of Boothroyd's intervention wasn't just picking a better gun. It was understanding that authenticity matters, even in fantasy. When audiences believe the details, they'll buy the bigger fiction. A spy who carries professional equipment feels more real than one with ray guns and exploding chewing gum. Every action hero since Bond owes something to that weapon choice. John McClane, Jason Bourne, Ethan Hunt, they all carry compact practical pistols because Bond established that template. Before 007, movie heroes carried giant revolvers or military hand cannons. After him, they picked weapons that made sense for their jobs. So that's the story of how one letter changed action movies forever. A Scottish gun expert told Ian Fleming his hero carried a terrible weapon, and Fleming listened. That simple exchange created a standard we still follow today. Every time you see a movie spy pull out a sleek pistol instead of a chrome-plated monster, you're watching Boothroyd's legacy. The next time you watch Bond draw his Walther, remember you're not just seeing an actor with a prop. You're watching 60 years of thought about what a modern warrior should carry. In that simple motion lives the entire evolution of action cinema, from gentleman adventurer to professional killer. And it all started because one man thought James Bond deserved a better gun.